Ooh. All right, let's go ahead and add another adjustment layer to this. Leave this on here. And you'll notice that the adjustment layers stack on top of each other, so that as I turn these on and off, they affect each other. If I drag this layer on top of that, it'll affect it differently than if I drag this layer below. So dragging curves below levels gives me a different result than dragging levels below curves. So, interesting. So I'll turn off the levels, I guess. I kind of like this curves adjustment. I'm going to add a third adjustment layer, and that is hue saturation. So hue saturation and lightness. And what this does, hue changes the overall color distribution of the image. And the way to understand this is that you've got this kind of lovely rainbow bright pelt down here. Comes from attacking those ponies you see floating around in rainbows. And then right now it's just a one-to-one correspondence. Blue equals blue, magenta is magenta, red is red, yellow is yellow, green is green, etc. So what we're going to do is, if I move this hue slider, it changes the rainbow relationship. So now everything in the image that was red is now blue, everything that was blue is now green, and everything that was green is now red. And so it changes that, it just shifts those colors around according to where the slider is. Now this image doesn't have a whole lot of color in it, so we can't, it's a little hard to see, but you get the idea. The other thing we can adjust with this is saturation, and saturation is just the purity of the color. So if I drop this all the way, I desaturate the image, which means turning it into a grayscale, black and white photo. If I crank it up, then we get the electric Kool-Aid acid test. So, but it's a nice slider to have play with there. And then lightness just gives you a real rough, dark to light slider. Not the best thing in the world to adjust. You know, it's not nearly as fine as curves or levels, but it's useful for what I'm going to show next, which is colorize. So colorize, what it's going to do is get rid of all the color and turn it into a grayscale image like this, but instead of gray, it's going to use a color instead of black. Rather, a grayscale is just going from black to white. Colorize is going to send it from a color to white, and here's what I mean. So I'll just leave this, I'll hit colorize, and now we've got a red scale image, and now we've got a green scale image, and a blue scale image, and a magenta scale image. And when it does that for you, it automatically drops the saturation down. But you can crank it back up if you want, you can lower it even more. So if you want to get some kind of a old-timey sepia kind of an effect, you know, there you go. Just kind of crank it into the sepia-ish range and then decrease the saturation. And it's old-timey. Yeehaw. All right. But you can get some interesting kind of effects. One of the things that you can do is get like some kind of interesting, almost like a fake halftone. This could be nice if you're doing a background for a page, like you wanted to lay some type over this. I could crank the lightness way up after I've colorized it into a blue. And then as I go back down here, add a type layer, and lay some type in here once the beach ball decides to stop spinning. There we go. And Ruya. There we go. Maybe make it black so we can see it. And I'll add one more type layer just to kind of show the idea. Something classy. Just kidding. What's good? I don't know. Myriad Pro. All right. So that's one of the reasons you might want to use that to create a little bit of a background so that you can lay some type over it, maybe for the book project or something like that. You see that a lot. I don't know, out and about in the world. So next lesson, we'll show you how to do a layer mask and how to work with